We're live from Miami, where Cattelan, the comedian, has become an international...
The Comedian is arguably the most famous work made this century. When it debuted at Art Basel in December 2019, it caused true pandemonium.
Maurizio Cattelan is no stranger to controversy.
It was causing too much of a commotion. Everybody wanted to come and see it.
Some people arriving to the fair and crying because they didn't see the banana. It was very intense.
Does a six-figure price tag make The Comedian profound?
It made a lot of people very angry.
Critics have called it an anti-establishment statement, while others simply call it absurd.
Any work that has had a profound impact on the course of art history has provoked outrage. You can't change the conversation without pissing a few people off.
Maurizio Cattelan's Comedian is a banana stuck to the wall with a short length of silver duct tape. The banana, as I think so many people think of it now, first appeared at the booth of Gallery Pebbletown at Art Basel Miami in 2019, and they eventually had to take it off the wall because it created such a stir that the crowds were too big and they were worried about all the other artworks.
The fair was fighting with me to put out the banana because neighbors was complaining of the numbers of people coming.
There were queues that disrupted the fair. It eventually had to be taken down for public safety reasons.
One person pulled it off the wall and ate it.
There was a huge response online, people sticking stuff to walls, brands sticking their own things to walls. It went completely viral, which is quite a feat for a work of contemporary art.
It was the cover of the New York Post. It was the lead story on every news website, from the tabloidy to the serious, with all these outlets debating what this represents, whether this is art, whether it is a prank, whether it is a symbol of the excess of the art market. And in truth, it is, of course, all of those things.
The day before the opening of Miami Art Fair, I'm calling to one of my clients, telling him, okay, tomorrow I go to show these works of Maurizio Cattelan, the banana. If you buy it today, you will make art history. And he didn't take seriously my offer, but 3 days after I received a message offering me 7 times the price I offer him. You imagine the change of perception created by the way it was received by the audience,
I think it's worth thinking about where we are in Cattelan's career at this point. He's had his major retrospective at the Guggenheim in 2010, 2011, which he has promoted by announcing his retirement as an artist. And this is the first art fair that Cattelan has been included in for 15 years.
But it was its announcement as a new original work by Maurizio Cattelan that captured the world's attention immediately.
He was really back. It's not easy to disappear. It's not like a concert, You announce you go to disappear and you go to make stadium of audience for your concert. When you're a musician, it's different. You can make your comeback. In the art world need to have someone always exhibiting his work, always presenting things. When you produce very few works every year, you have much more pressure compared to a painter doing his abstract paintings over and over.
He's not prolific. He doesn't have a studio. He's a post-studio artist. He's very careful about what he does and what he allows to go into the world. He's a very good editor of himself. Unlike most artists, he breaks outside of the art world. He's like Warhol in that way. So he's not just speaking to the confines of the art world. His work lives in the world. Very early on, he understood the importance of representation.
Famous works include the Pope struck by an act of divine retribution, flattened by a meteor, a gold toilet installed at Blenheim Palace in the English countryside. This is an artist who's consistently pushed the issue and deliberately provoked his audience.
Cattelan's use of humour is his most significant distinguishing feature. It takes a lot of courage, it takes balls to be funny in contemporary art, because we don't value it in the same way that we don't value comedy in the same way that we value serious drama. A comedy never wins Best Picture.
The important thing to know about Maurizio is that his his jokes are serious, and his serious work is funny. And that's underlying everything. There's something very deep in what Maurizio does. So the veneer of it might look like a banana, but there's something else always that's at the core of what he's saying.
Whether it's the boy peering out of the floor in a classic Old Master Paintings gallery, or whether it's a toy leaning face down in the rotunda fountain of the Guggenheim Museum. If you study the trajectory of Cattelan's career, one visual motif that recurs throughout is the idea of his sculpture breaking in to a place in which it does not belong. There is a trespassing of sorts. And I think that's what he does with Comedian too.
There's a way of reading this work as a self-portrait. You know, the title of this work is Comedian, and Cattelan is the comedian of the art world, more almost the Falstaff, the Shakespearean fool of the artwork as a whole. In the same way that Lear's avarice and pride is revealed by the fool in his court who speaks a truth to power. To an extent, that is what Cattelan is doing here. In the center of the commercial art world, in an art fair, he is presenting a work that mocks the very notion of art having this degree of value. This is fundamentally a banana and a piece of duct tape, and yet its value is in its conceptual heft.
If I think about it, I mean, there really is no other artwork of the past century that has had the ability to pierce beyond the confines of the art world and enter the public pop cultural consciousness like Comedian.
Well, the irony is, the only other one to happen that decade happened at Sotheby's a year and a half earlier, when the Banksy shredded itself in the sale room in London. But whereas that is a prank in the truest sense of the word, a prank which we were the punchline of, Cattelan's work to me doesn't fit quite within the same category. Banksy has positioned himself as an outsider, he's anonymous, he's a social activist. Cattelan is on the inside, he's the ultimate insider, and this work, which was presented first in the context of an art fair and now in the context of an auction, is a testament to that. Unlike with Banksy, the call's coming from inside the house.
Taking something that was so ordinary and raising it to the level of art. It harkens back to Marcel Duchamp's Ready-Made. Can a bicycle wheel be art? Put it on a pedestal. It is. Can a urinal be art? Put it on a pedestal. Call it I.R. Mutt. It becomes art.
In the 1960s, Piero Manzoni tins his own feces. In the late 1940s, Jackson Pollock is creating drip paintings. In the 60s, Lichtenstein is painting comic strips. In the 80s, Felix Gonzalez Torres is piling up candies. 90s, Damien Hirst pickles a shark. Later in the 90s, Tracy Emin embroiders a tent with the names of everyone she's ever slept with. This work is part of a lineage of artworks over the course of the 20th century that do call into question what constitutes art.
But he's doing it in a different way. He's doing it for our time. It's got a different kind of appeal.
I think it would be a mistake for me to say, I think this is what Maurizio Cattelan means. I think one of the important things for him is to be exploring ideas, but never trying to resolve a question.
What was interesting is the debate around the works, the debate about contemporary art. The fact it was making so many people discussing about that.
There's a lot of complicated questions and ideas in this deceptively simple piece, and I think some people outside the art world saw that line of thinking in it and found that distasteful. But actually, also a lot of people just thought it was hilarious. I mean, the banana is an inherently funny fruit, but also the art world can be kind of seen as a bit ridiculous. And I think that you can stand back and kind of go, yes, why not? Why not laugh at it?
This is meant to be funny. It is an absurdity. It is a reference to banana peels and vaudeville comedy. There is so much in this that is intensely humorous. And that is the first step, is recognizing the humor. The second is recognizing the import.
An essential part of the artwork is the response. It is what viewers feel when standing in front of it, and it is what collectors are prepared to pay for it. This work always had to come to auction. This is a work that derives its power from questioning how we value art. And there is no better forum to adjudicate the value of art and a single object than the platform of auction.